Hi everyone, it's Will, and I'm here with another tarot reading. Today, we are going to ask the question, what's blocking you? What's blocking you? I've chosen three decks to work with here. We've got the Ethereal Visions Tarot Luna Edition, and I have paired that with the Black Agate. We've got the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot paired with the Desert Rose. And finally, the Tarot Nuages deck paired with Fluorite. I have shuffled all three of these decks. I am going to pull out one card from each deck, and I'm going to use the whole deck to do it. And that will be the kind of theme card or significator for each reading, okay? But first, let me grab my Palo Santo and light it, and let's get some smoke on each of these decks. And then we'll do a little shuffle, we'll grab some cards, and we will figure out an answer to the question, what is blocking you? Okay, so first, Ethereal Visions. And then next, Fyodor Pavlov. And finally, Tarot Nuage. Okay, let's start with these guys. Give them a little shuffle. If we have a jumper, we'll use the jumper. All right. Page of Swords. Page of Swords is the card for pile one. So, what's blocking you? Not having enough information, needing to do more research about something, feeling hesitant, feeling uncertain, not knowing if you can succeed. All of those, I think, would fit really well into a Page of Swords reading. Let's grab number two's card. Okay. Seven of Swords. Deception, lies, lack of focus, other people not understanding why you're doing this thing that you're doing, what you're going to do with all them swords, right? They don't get you, they don't understand you. People think you're a weirdo. All of that would fit into Seven of Swords. And finally, the Tarot Nuage. Oh, two jumpers. We're going to take them both. Ooh, interesting. So one of them's Page of Swords, but the other was Nine of Wands. So if you've got similar things to pile one with Page of Swords, you're feeling like you don't have enough information about your situation, you're feeling uncertain, hesitant, like you're going to drop your sword, so to speak. But also, if you're feeling like you're on your last limb, maybe you feel wounded, you feel overwhelmed at the same time, like people are telling you, just keep going, you're almost there. And you're like, but if I don't stop, I'm going to collapse. I can't just keep going, right? That would be the added Nine of Wands. So I think what I'd like to do to make sure we're clearly differentiating these is I'd like to pull another card from pile 1. Since we've got Page of Swords, we're pairing the Nine of Wands, because he jumped out at us. We're pairing the Nine of Wands with the Page of Swords in pile 3. What are we going to pair the Page of Swords in pile 1 with? Page of Swords. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Nine of Wands. Wow. I sort of can't believe that that happened, and yet here we are. So you know what? The cards are saying pretty clearly, like this is what's supposed to happen. So I'm gonna go with it. We've got two combos: Nine of Wands, Page of Swords. Maybe watch them both, unless you're pile 2. I can't believe it, but here it is, and I've got it recorded. It's on camera. So pile 1 is Nine of Wands with Page of Swords paired with the Black Agate, and that's the Ethereal Visions Terra Luna edition. Pile 2, Seven of Swords with the Desert Rose. And pile 3, Page of Swords, Nine of Wands again, this time with the Tarot Nuage and the Fluorite. So please choose your pile. The timestamps are down below, and I will see you in your reading. Okay, group 1, hello and welcome to your reading. You chose Page of Swords and Nine of Wands with the Black Agate. I'll set that aside. And we are going to ask the question and get answers to the question of what is blocking you? What is blocking you? So let me give these a little shuffle. You might be feeling kind of uncertain about your situation, not like sure if you can succeed or not. Pages in general are like at the beginning of something. They're untested, they're untried, they haven't necessarily got a firm footing on things. I will say that in my own experience, my personal experience working with the tarot, that the Page of Swords is the kind of page who doesn't always know their own strength and is kind of a David and Goliath situation. They're kind of like the David, like they can defeat the giant even though they didn't know that they could, right? They're better with that sword often than they think that they were. I see pages in general as the kind of person who is able to take things as they come, right? So it doesn't have to plan everything out way in advance, and instead can sort of live their life as it comes to them. There's someone who is simultaneously really focused on details. They tend to be detail oriented, I'd say, but also because of the swords stuff, they're a thinker, and so they're interested and concerned about like the overall picture of a situation as well. With the Nine of Wands, we can think about an interruption that has come up, like you've been trying to do something maybe and you're worn out or you're tired, or you no longer have the resources that you need to advance. And so there's been an interruption, like it's time to take a break. The world is telling you, you don't have a choice. You are taking a break now. That is very Nine of Wands energy. That's like, you know, when someone just keeps going and going and going until they hurt themselves, right? Like if you're really stressed out, or like I know if I'm really stressed out and I'm working and I'm working and I'm just doing too much, you know, like I may wake up with like a backache, right? Or I might wake up with like a pain in my neck and I can't turn my head the right way. And it's just because of stress, right? It just piles up. So stressed out is probably a good way of describing how you might be feeling right now. So I've got the cards you chose propped up here. Let me just see, can I get them? All right, I think that's okay. Let's answer the question. What is blocking you right now? What is blocking you? Three of Cups. Emotional growth is blocking you? That doesn't make sense. So it's not emotional growth. Could be a friend situation. Are you spending too much time staying up late drinking with friends? That would be one possible answer to the question. Let's see what the next one is. The Hanged Man. Okay. So hanging around, not moving, feeling like you're sacrificing things, like you've had to give something up, renounce something, maybe feeling punished. Is someone punishing you? That would be an option here. When we look at this card, it could also be that you're having a hard time seeing an alternative to your current situation, right? The hangman is about having a different viewpoint, a different perspective on things. And so here I would think sort of the reversed meaning of the card, which would be that you're not able to access that alternate perspective. Let's see. The Well, interesting. So this is an additional card specific to the Ethereal Visions deck, the Luna edition. And the Well represents where our creativity comes from, right? It's like the source of unconscious feelings and creativity, and it's practically endless, but it's also a warning. You can fall into a well, right? You can see how the figure is sitting gently on the edge, the sort of lip of the well, but there's nothing stopping her from falling in other than her own posture, her own balance. Um, so, is there any possibility that you've fallen down the well, so to speak, fallen down the well of something, so to speak? So, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. So, what is holding you back? Well, stunted emotional growth is one possibility. Stunted emotional growth, right? Like, um, the threes I think of in terms of growth, gentle expansion, also expression. So maybe trouble expressing your emotions. That would be a possibility here. It's the only minor arcana card. So, like, the way I would read these three is that what is happening is Three of Cups. What is happening is something to do with emotional growth or a stunted emotional growth or a gathering of friends, or maybe it's not so much the gathering of friends as some conflict or around a friend group, a small group of people, right? Not necessarily three. And that is happening because of these two cards, right? Why is this happening? Well, because you are being punished, like maybe in your friends group, um, like one of them is punishing you for something. Uh, or another possibility would be you've had to give up something regarding your friends group, regarding these other people. And so when I say friends group, it could just be any group of people, right? So maybe it's actually in your particular situation like a work group, or could be family, right? Or could be friends. Um, and then the third thing I think is, have you fallen down the well, right? Like, I think this could be depression. This could be something you're down inside of it and you're having a really hard time climbing out of it, right? Like you're stuck down there and you can't get out. With these two, I'm imagining these two cards sort of merging, and that this hanged man is lowered down into the well and can't get out of it. So are you stuck down a metaphorical well? And is that sort of keeping you from social interactions with other people? That would be a possibility here. So let's ask a follow-up question. Let me think. The question is, what's blocking you? And so what's blocking you is having to give up or having to be punished in some way in relation to a group of people, right? That involves metaphorically feeling like you're sort of stuck somewhere down in a well, right? So let's ask the next follow-up question. What is one step you could take? Like what is a course of action you could take to make progress towards getting unstuck? What's something you could be doing? Presumably differently, right? What's something you could be doing? So, okay. It's card 13 of the Major Arcana, aka Death. So you could be transforming or transitioning in some way, making some kind of transition. Sometimes I interpret this card in terms of ego death. Maybe that is part of what's going on here. There's some part of you that needs to pass on so that a new part can grow. I think of the caterpillar to butterfly metaphor here, right? The caterpillar has to metaphorically die before the caterpillar or before the butterfly can emerge from the chrysalis, right? So a transformation needs to happen. King of Pentacles. So, you'd chosen Page of Swords, Nine of Wands. And so I'm seeing pretty clearly here, to go back to my caterpillar butterfly metaphor, the Page of Swords is the caterpillar, death is the chrysalis, cocoon, and emerging as King of Pentacles. So there's a transformation that needs to be taking place here. So think about channeling, trying to modify your behavior in a way that's more in line with King of Pentacles. So who is the King of Pentacles? Well, they're someone who's got plenty of whatever resource it is that you need. So obviously money comes to mind, but I think that's often an overly simplistic answer. The King of Pentacles has energy, they have time, they have money, they are able to invest themselves in what matters to them. They know their values, they know what's important to them, and so because of that, they're able to invest, right? So I will say, here are some differences, some big differences between a page and a king that might be worth thinking about, because there is a pretty clear indication that there's a transformation that needs to happen for you if you're not going to be blocked anymore, moving from page to king. So, first of all, I think that kings can sometimes be more extroverted than pages. Now, to some extent, I don't think anybody has any control over how introverted or extroverted they are. But I do think if maybe the issue here is, to go back to our Three of Cups, that something is holding you back from social interactions. that like a King of Pentacles is never going to be nervous or afraid at social interactions. A Page of Swords might be. A Page of Swords might stand in the corner and watch and think without getting involved. And a King of Pentacles, I don't think is going to do that. A King of Pentacles likes to have a good time, likes to enjoy everything that they've worked so hard for, can sometimes even be overly sensual, like too much into celebrating, partying, drinking too much, eating too much, having a really good time, enjoying sort of physical pleasures. And so that would be something to watch out for. But the Page of Swords isn't really going to be doing any of that. And so I think the cards are saying here, maybe you could be like trying more to relax and have a good time. That might be one way of putting it. One more thing before I flip this card. A Page of Swords is less likely to plan everything out in advance. As I said earlier, they're more likely to take life as it comes to them. A King of Pentacles, I think, plans things out, right? A King of Pentacles has like a budget, for example. They know how much money they're going to get, how much money they're going to spend, and what they're going to spend it on. And that's all decided, the month before, right? And so that's just one example. I'm not talking specifically about money here for you, but that's one example of how a page and a king are different. So maybe the cards are also suggesting like, are you planning your life out before it happens? Or are you just like waiting for the next thing to come and then trying to deal with it when it shows up instead of anticipating things and preparing for them ahead of time? And so that is maybe another major way that that a transformation could help you to get unstuck, right? That's what we're trying to do, is figure out how can you get unstuck. Okay, oh boy, we got the Tower. We got Death in the Tower. I think you're probably having a pretty hard time right now, whoever is watching this. So the Tower is about building something, creating something, something's growing, right? And then it's just not on solid ground, and so it falls down, it collapses, it's destroyed. Now, in that, that's like a big dramatic way of interpreting the card. A more ordinary, down to earth kind of way of interpreting the Tower would just be, this is about a big change of plans. Okay, like you thought you were planning to do one thing, and it turns out you're going to be doing something else instead, right? Like some pattern, some routine in your life that you have been working with, that you have been into building, right? That routine is changing, or has changed, or is about to change, which means it collapses, right? Clean slate. Now you have to build a new routine, right? So, do you have a routine? The Page of Swords, I wondered, is there a clear routine here? If there is, the cards are saying it's time to change that up. If there's not one, I think it's saying like you'd better go ahead and get one, right? I guess again, to some extent, everyone has some kind of routine, but is it something that you're planning out ahead of time to get the most, like, so that it's for your own good, for your own well-being, for your best interest, in your best interest, right? Or is it just like, we're just going to see what happens, I guess, and then it all comes collapsing down on you, right? You feel like you're upside down in the air. Let's just pull 3 more. And I think we need some motivation here. So let's ask, What is the most important thing to focus on in this time to get unstuck, right? You're going through a transformation right now. You're a page trying to be a king, but everything you're doing seems to fall down. So, what should you be focusing on to stay motivated? Two of Cups. So, we saw the Three of Cups earlier, right? It's the first card down. So that, in some sense, sets the tone for the rest of the reading. And so I wonder if there's a friendship situation that's gone bad, or you're having trouble making friends, something like that. And so this card would say, just focus on one friend. Can you get yourself one good friend, right? Or if you've already got friends and maybe there's some kind of conflict that's happening in your friend group, can you find one person there that you really feel like you trust and can um, be engaged with and who can be like a fulfilling relationship for you, right? That would be one thing to think about. Make sure you've got a good friend. The Magician. Okay, so you are powerful. The Magician is powerful. That is a lesson you may need to learn. You do have, to some extent, right, um, the power to change things in your life, the power to make plans that cause things to happen differently than they would have happened if you hadn't made plans, if you hadn't organized things out in advance, right? And the Chariot, driving ahead, driving forward, um, maintaining control, maybe only just barely, but having some sense of guidance and direction in moving forward in life. So, one really practical thing I would say is, um, you have the power to manifest going on a drive with a friend, right? Like maybe a road trip or something. Um, or driving to see a friend. Is there a friend who like you don't get to see super often, but you could travel there, either drive or take some sort of vehicle, right? Chariot to go and see that person. I think that the trick because if we look at the cards that have popped up, we've got lots of majors, right? In fact, am I correct that Three of Cups, major, 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 King of Pentacles. So all we've got Two of Cups, Three of Cups are the only minors we've got other than this court card in the center, the King. The rest are all majors. So there's something really big happening with you right now. And the key to you getting unstuck is cups, right? You need to be doing cups stuff. And that means emotional work, making sure you're understanding your feelings, and having relationships with other people. So, how do you get unstuck? It's all going to be about how you're engaging with other people, right? And the movement of the three to the two again makes me think like maybe what you need is one really good friend to pull you out of the well, right? Rather than a big group or even a small group of friends. So I would say that would be something that you should really try to focus on. Manifesting that in your life, manifesting a friendship in your life, so that you can emerge successfully from the well, drive forward, move on from this stuck place that you're in right now. Okay, I will end it there. Please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know down in the comments which of these cards resonated with you. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much, and I will see you in your next tarot reading. Hello, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose Seven Swords and the Desert Rose. We'll set that aside, and I'll just prop up our Seven Swords here. Okay, I've got the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot deck, and we're going to answer the question, what's blocking you? We'll lay out 3 cards to do that, and then based on the answer we get, we'll formulate another question and rinse and repeat until we've gotten a decent reading here. We'll probably aim for about 9 cards, but it totally depends on what comes up. Sometimes we need more, and sometimes we don't. So, you chose 7 swords, which can be deception, can be lies, can be tears, can be someone sneaking away with something that maybe they're not supposed to have. That could be that someone took something of yours, or maybe you took something of theirs. This is about other people not understanding your actions, right? Why is this person sneaking off with all these swords that probably belong to whoever owns these tents back here? I like to imagine that, like, these are soldiers and they are about to do something really bad, really atrocious with these swords. And so this person comes along and steal those swords so that they can't be used to hurt other people. And is it a deception? Sure is. Is it the best thing to do? Probably yes also. So why are you blocked, or rather, what is blocking you? I believe that's how I originally formulated the question. What is blocking you? The Emperor is blocking you. So, do you have an authority figure in your life who is preventing you from getting done whatever it is you need to get done? Preventing you from being yourself? This could be a boss. This could be it could be a father figure, or a parent in general, not necessarily just a father, right? It's someone in with the power to give you orders, someone in a position to command, or if not currently able to, that's someone who at one point in time could do it. It could also just be someone who, if they're not actually kind of in the status of an emperor, they think they are, or that's like one facet or aspect of their personality. So this could just be like, I don't know, a friend who's really bossy. Is a friend who's really bossy blocking you in some way? Ace of Wands. How is the Ace of Wands blocking you? This is, this could be that your spark has gone out, that you don't have energy, you don't have enthusiasm, there's an action you're not taking, you don't have a fire lit under you, so to speak. There's not something you're passionate about, or if you are passionate about it, this person, this emperor person, is preventing you from doing anything about it. And 7 Cups. This is about having trouble distinguishing between fantasy and reality. This is about it seeming like there are just too many choices, and so you can't pick any one of them, maybe because it seems like none of them are actually good. This is kind of like if you're trying to buy something online and you go on to whatever website you shop on and type in some keywords and you get like 15,000 results, and you're trying to go through and figure out which is the right one that you really want to get, and eventually you just give up because you're like, I don't know if I want the one with this thing or that thing, and I don't know the difference, and so I just am not going to buy anything because I feel like there are so many choices and none of them seem exactly right. That's kind of this, too many options. but it's also about these clouds, right, are like a veil, a fantasy veil that are preventing you from seeing what's really there, what's really behind the clouds. And we do get the clouds here. In this case, it's where the hand is emerging to hold the wand, right? But there's a theme starting here of like clouds happening, fantasy, confusion, being unable to distinguish between like what's real and what's not totally real. So, what is blocking you? Well, the Emperor is blocking you. And how are they blocking you? By like stealing your fire about something and putting up a veil or putting down a veil, however you want to say it, preventing you from seeing what's real, right? Or maybe giving you a lot of choices, but they're all bad, right? You're saying, I want to do this thing. And the emperor says, no, but you could do this or this or this or this or this or this or that. And you're like, no, but I want to do this thing. And they're like, nope, you can't, but you could do any of these other things that you don't actually want to do, right? If you're like, I don't know, I want to study theater at a liberal arts college. And they're like, no, but you could join the military or you could work at the drugstore and you're like, no, you're not hearing me. I don't want to do any of that stuff, right? Just to make up sort of a silly example. Okay, so you've got an emperor who's keeping you from something you are passionate about, which is maybe why you're off stealing swords in the night, doing some deception behind the emperor's back. So let's see. I'm trying to formulate the next question, and I think it's complicated because how do you go up against an emperor? You just may not be able to, right? So, like, I feel like we've got two choices. One choice is fight the emperor, whatever that emperor might represent to you, right? If it's a boss at your job, or if it's a parent, or if it's a bossy friend, or like whatever it is. One is fight them, go against them, find a way. And the other way would be you can't, right? There's a saying from The Art of War that's something like, don't fight unless you know you can win, right? If you don't know that you can win, fighting is probably not the right choice. So, and of course, by fight, I'm speaking metaphorically, right? I mean, like, don't just go punch the emperor. I'm talking like try to stop them in some way. So let's lay out 6 cards in 2 piles. And the first pile will be, here's what would happen if you fight the emperor. Here's what would happen if you go against them. And the second pile is going to represent what will happen, or like what the outcome is more likely to be if you give in, because sometimes we have to give in. And let's see if the cards can help to illuminate a little bit. So these 3 cards, if you go up against the emperor, if you go up against the emperor, you're going to have 10 cups. Well, on the one hand, this card is just a card about happiness, but it also can be overwhelming feeling, an excess of feeling, way too many cups, too many feelings happening. These 2 cards will tell us which way we should interpret this. King of Swords. So, if you go up against the emperor will either be demoted to a king, or you will be well suited to the battle because you yourself will be in the position of a king, and it's a king of swords who has a weapon, just like the emperor does, right? They each have a sword. The difference, of course, is the emperor has also got this scroll, which is like the law on their side, and the king of swords doesn't necessarily have that. Six cups. So, Six Cups is about memories, nostalgia, sometimes about being stuck in the past. And reading it alongside the Ten of Cups that came up earlier, it's pretty clear there is a decrease of your happiness from 10 to 6, right? Whatever happiness you had in your confrontation, in your battle of wits with the Emperor, you're going to lose a good chunk of your cups, which might leave you looking back nostalgically about how good things used to be before you fought the Emperor, before you went up against the Emperor. But you'll still have six cups, and six cups are the pathway to happiness. So a loss of happiness, but it's not like you won't have any, right? We didn't pull, for example, the Tower card or the Death card or something like that, right? We don't even have a moon up here. So potentially a decrease in happiness if you go up against the Emperor, but you'd still have something at the end of the day. It would not be the end of the world to try to fight this Emperor. What if you capitulate? What if you give in to the Emperor? Two wands. So you'd be in a position where you're planning something, getting ready to do something, but not actually doing it. So I go back to the Ace of Wands that came up a moment ago, and I got the sense that the Emperor is taking the ace away from you, taking the spark away from you. If you give in to the Emperor, you obviously, the spark won't totally go away if it's something you really love, right? If something you really want to do, but you might be stuck in a planning phase. As long as the Emperor has power over you, all you can do is like write about it and prepare for it, but not actually do it, whatever it is. Okay, 10 coins. So if you give in to the Emperor, you will have all the resources you need, right? Like if the Emperor is your boss at work, giving in to the Emperor means you're still going to get that paycheck, right? Or if it's a parent figure, because the Emperor is sometimes known as the father figure of the tarot deck. So if this is a parent, you'll still like have a roof over your head if you're living with them, or this can also be an inheritance, right? So maybe if you stand to inherit something from this parent, from this parent figure, maybe giving in to what they want will ensure that you do indeed get to inherit that stuff, whatever it is, money, property, whatever. Let's see, what do we have? The Star, hope, optimism, being guided towards something, a light in the darkness, hope at the end of the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel. So if you give in to the Emperor and don't go up against them, don't fight them, you will be delaying something that is really important to you, but it won't go away completely, right? It's just that for a period of time, if you have to give in to what the Emperor wants or insists upon, you're going to be planning and thinking about that thing rather than having it. But you will have material satisfaction, material stability, right? Plenty of all those material goods that we all need to ensure our own well-being. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. This won't be forever. At some point, you'll be able to get out from underneath the emperor's thumb. It just may not be immediate, right? So I would never want to tell you what to do. You have to choose for yourself what to do. But these are the options available to you if you go up against the emperor. There's likely to be a decrease of happiness, and you might have some nostalgia or even regret about how things used to be before you tried to fight. But those 6 cups, 6 is a number of harmony, so it's not the end of the world, right? It's not death or the tower. If you give in to the emperor's demands, who is holding you back, you're going to have to give something up for a while. Just make plans for it for the future, but you'll have material stability, right? And this too shall pass. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You will eventually be able to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue. That's represented here, I think, by that Ace of Wands. So consider carefully. There's not a clear do this or do that response here. Both ways are open to you. You have to choose. You have to take responsibility and decide for yourself whether you can fight this emperor or, at least for the moment, capitulate and give in to their power, right? All right, I will end the reading there. Please consider liking and subscribing if you got something out of this reading. And let me know in the comments what resonated for you. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I will see you in your next reading. Hello, Group 3, and welcome to your reading. You chose Tarot Nuage with the Fluorite, and we pulled the Page of Swords, if I remember correctly, and the Nine of Wands jumped out at us. So these are the significator cards for the reading, and of course they matched reading 1. So maybe you guys are back here too. I'm really curious to see what similarities or differences come up in this reading versus the previous one, because we've got a different deck, but of course the significator cards are the same. So let me do a little shuffling, and of course we're here to answer the question, what is blocking you? We'll lay out 3 cards to answer that question, and then based on the response we get, we will ask a follow-up question and rinse and repeat until we have a satisfying answer. Let's just give these a little shuffle. Since you chose the Page of Swords and the Nine of Wands, you might be feeling, well, blocked, obviously, but hesitant, uncertain, like you're not sure what to do next, wounded, tired, stressed. All of those are things that come to mind with these cards. All right, let's knock on these, cut them. What's blocking you? Okay, what is blocking you? Number 1. The Lovers are blocking you. So this could be a choice. Have you got a choice to make? Is there some kind of important decision that is coming up in your life that is preventing you from going forward? Could also be a relationship, of course. That would be something else to consider. It could be a romantic relationship, maybe a friendship, but I do usually associate the Lovers more with a romantic relationship. So is your relationship what's blocking you? Another Page of Coins. So Because Page of Swords was significator for this reading, I am definitely thinking it's a relationship between a Page of Swords and a Page of Coins, right? And that's blocking you, right? And so, I guess it could be that you're already in a relationship with this person and it's blocked, so to speak. There's something blocked about it. Could also be that you are having trouble with other parts of your life because maybe you have a huge crush on this person and you're trying to get into a relationship and you feel blocked because you can't. Or maybe you were in a relationship with this person and then there was a breakup and you feel like you're blocked and can't move forward on after it. Both of the pages would be people who are young or like not necessarily in a bad way, but potentially immature, right? Meaning they still have plenty to learn about their circumstances or life or whatever. And if they're not actually young, then they're untested, untried in a particular arena, right? So the Page of Coins, I think of as someone who is studious, who's very good at following a routine, at getting things done, at making an effort, at being secure, finding some stability in their life, even though this is new to them. Um, and they're trying to figure out what it is that matters to them, what they really care about, what they value. The Page of Swords is more intellectual, likes a good conversation or even argument, right? The Page of Swords is someone who might grow up and decide one day they want to go to law school, right? They use their mind. They like to communicate. They're not always really good at it yet, um, but they have a lot of potential there. Both of the pages would get along because they're kind of at the same level, but coins and swords are earth and air, and those elements contradict one another, right? The Page of Coins is very down to earth. Maybe is the kind of person who, I likes material comforts, right? Maybe wants to stay in and watch old movies, right? The Page of Swords wants to accomplish something, right? Wants to go out and do something, achieve, wants some kind of an achievement that they've done, so they can say, "Look at me, I did it. I didn't just do something that made me feel good or comfortable." The Page of Coins likes to be comfortable. Page of Swords is like, comfortable is less important than did I achieve something that I believe in, right? That's Page of Swords. All right, so we've got a contradiction in a relationship between two people and the Hanged Man. So maybe you're feeling like punished or that you've had to give up something, right? Punished, or one or the two of you feel punished, or both feel punished, or that you've had to give up something, right? Like, in order to maintain the relationship, have you had to make a sacrifice? And do you feel like having made that sacrifice, now you're blocked? And now you have the relationship, but you're stuck, right? That would be one possible interpretation of what's going on here. Could be that there was some kind of fight and one person feels punished by the other, or maybe you both feel like you're punishing one another. Um, some new perspective is becoming visible, and maybe you feel blocked because either you feel like this new pathway, this new perspective, this new way of seeing is too scary to confront, or you know that it's the right thing to do, the right way to go, the right way of seeing things, but you're scared of taking the action, right? Because the Hanged Man is not someone who's acting, they're just hanging there, right? They're not taking an action. And so, why do you feel blocked? Well, because you're not taking an action, right? So, to answer the question, what's blocking you? I would say it's likely something to do with a relationship that has to do with this other page, and there's some sacrifice or punishment going on that is resulting in an inability to move forward. So, let's push these cards up and pull three more from the deck, and let's ask ourselves. Um, How should you approach this situation? How should you approach, like, how should you behave, act, right? Because if the hangman is saying you're stuck, you're blocked because you're not acting. So, should you keep not acting or what? How should you be behaving that's different from what you're already doing? The moon. This is about confusion, fear, uncertainty, distractions. Okay, what do we do with all that? King of Wands, that's an answer. You can't be a page, you need to be a king. If I remember correctly, let me just pull, just in case you watched reading one also. Do you know what came up? The Hanged Man. And there it was the King of Pentacles. Here we've got the King of Wands. But these two decks are like vibing together today. I think they have been talking about us before I started doing the reading. So I feel like I'm repeating myself is the point of me pulling that out, because we're getting a lot of really similar cards here, with the hangman being like, you're not taking an action, you're not doing the thing. What should you do instead? Don't be a page, be a king, right? Don't be a page, be a king. And so here it's a King of Wands instead of King of Pentacles. So King of Wands is a kind of leader. They know, they have the power to take action. Wands are about action. They like to be stimulated. They like excitement. They are the kind of person who shows their appreciation for others through generosity, right? Gift giving. So if there's been a fight in a relationship, like maybe there's a gift that you could be giving to like a generous, not necessarily a gift, but not necessarily a material gift, that is, but like a gift of affection or time or um, taking an action, like doing a chore or something a little, taking the garbage out when the other person doesn't want to. That kind of little generous act can go a long way towards bringing people back together again, I think. It's those little things that often add up and make a big difference. So, don't be a page, be a king. And we'll get back to the moon in a second, but what is this card? 3 coins, work together, collaborate in practical ways to produce something, right? We've got these adorable bumblebees. I love this deck. These adorable little bumblebees and this mushroom with a third eye. And they're all working together to balance and hold up these coins, right? So this is about collaborating, working together, just to get some little practical results, okay? So, what could you be doing differently? You could confront your confusion, your fear, your uncertainty, your feeling that the world is not as it seems, by maintaining, grabbing, seizing some power over the situation instead of behaving in a more hesitant, uncertain, I'm not sure if I can do this. Should I or shouldn't I? Like, no. The King of Wands does it. The King of Wands knows action, do it. I know how to do it. I know when to do it. I don't hesitate. I act. Um, but not acting alone, right? Three of Coins, collaborating, working with others. So, is there some practical way in which this person you're in a relationship with, in which the two of you could be like working together, right? Like building something together if you're not already doing that. Um, Another thing to consider with the moon, I always think of the way the moon controls the tides, right? The gravity of the moon. And so it's like a hidden force pulling you, right? Pulling you forward. And you can't see it, but you can feel it. And you know there's something drawing on you, trying to move you in a particular way. And it might be confusing or fearful or scary, right? Um, but but there's nothing wrong about it. It's not black magic. It's not bad, right? There's no reason to bark. There's no reason to be afraid. And so if you're feeling like pulled towards something, drawn towards something, the King of Wands, I don't think would freak out about that in the way that a page would be calm on the outside. Page of Swords would be calm on the outside, but inside they would be freaking out if they felt compelled in some way that didn't make sense to them. The King of Wands, I think, would get excited about it, would be like, this is a new kind of stimulation. What's this about? Can we enjoy it? Can we turn this into a fun, good time? Right? That's how the King of Wands, I think, would behave differently. So let's do just three more cards. And for these three, let's ask, what is the best case scenario here for how this is gonna end up? Whatever relationship thing you've got going on with this person where you're feeling blocked by it, like, I guess I'm sort of asking, is the relationship salvageable? Assuming that you were to be more of a king instead of a page and give up confusion and fear and uncertainty, right? And find a way to work together. If all of that happened, what would be the result? The Town. Okay, so this card is unique to this deck. You're not going to find it, as far as I'm aware, in any other deck. I left it in because I thought it was really cute and really cool, and it's supposed to represent the early days of this magical town of Nuages, right? The city in the clouds, right? And so it's about harmony. Everything's working together. Everything's built up together. It's like a happy home kind of thing. It's also, though, kind of a fantasy. It's unreal. It's up in the clouds, right? So it's like all really good things, but are they real? Knight of Wands, passionate journey. The Knight of Wands takes you on a passionate journey. So, the possible result here is that you two end up continuing your passionate journey together. Queen of Wands. Interesting. Well, maybe this is your partner, or one of these is you and one is the partner. But in any event, we have a couple situation, right? We've got a Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands kind of thing. And people often say, well, the king and the queen should go together, right? And we've got, yeah, I think that's what it is, actually, right? King of Wands, Queen of Wands, and what connects them, Knight of Wands, as a journey, right? Knights are about going on a journey. So I think the relationship is salvageable, right? Like, you can learn to work together, the two of you. You can find a way of moving beyond the confusion and fear and the uncertainty of the moon, and continue on a passionate journey if Instead of behaving like a couple of pages, you can behave like a king and a queen, right? So, to be blunt about it, you've got to grow up, both of you. It's not just one of you. It's like both of you kind of need to grow up, maybe. That would be a way of putting it here. I hope that's not too blunt. I don't mean to be mean about it. So, let me end the reading there. Please consider liking and subscribing if you got something out of this here today. Let me know in the comments what struck a chord with you with these cards from this beautiful deck. And I will leave it there. Thanks again. Have a great day, and I will see you in your next reading.